Okay, now that we have talked about nouns and the noun phrase, let us talk about the adjective and the adjective phrase. As we saw from the noun phrase discussion, adjectives are words that describe or modify nouns. So in syntax, we often classify adjectives based on where they appear in the sentence and their role in relation to the noun. So here are the syntactic functions of an adjective based on their position. One is that the adjective can be attributive. If an adjective is an attributive adjective, it means that it is positioned before the noun. For example, the tall man. Tall is attributive because it comes before man. Now another is the predicative adjective. A predicative adjective is the adjective that is placed after a linking verb. Examples of linking verbs are is, was, seem, become. So if adjectives are placed after the linking verb, then it becomes a predicative adjective. For example, the man is tall. So tall comes after the linking verb is, which means it is a predicative adjective. Now what about a postpositive adjective? Here the adjective is placed immediately after the noun head. There is no verb in between. It is very less common in English. For example, the president-elect. Elect is an adjective which is appearing immediately after president. So it makes it a postpositive adjective. Let us expand these syntactic rules. First, let us talk about attributive adjectives. Now, before you get an attributive adjective, it means that you are going to have this structure of your noun phrase: a determiner, an adjective, and a noun. So all attributive adjectives occur between a determiner and a noun. So when you have a determiner and a noun, any adjective that comes in between is in the attributive position. So for example, the handsome boy. Here, handsome is an attributive adjective. It is an attribute of the boy. Now, some good news. Good over here is an attributive adjective. It comes before the noun head, which is news. So these adjectives occur in between determiners and then noun heads. They occur in attributive slots. Now, these are the common attributive adjectives. Beautiful can occur before the noun head. Tall also normally occur before the noun head. True, green, big, kind, heavy, they are all attributive adjectives that can occur before the noun head. Wherever you find attributive adjectives, they occur within a noun phrase and they function as modifiers of the noun head. So that is attributive adjectives. Adjectives that occur before the head, normally between a determiner and a noun. Now, if attributive adjectives occur before the noun head, what is the position of predicative adjectives? So these are the adjectives that occur after linking or copular verbs. We mentioned examples of linking or copular verbs like become, seem, appear, is, was, were. All those are linking verbs. So when adjectives come after these linking verbs, they normally describe the noun in the subject position. Therefore, in this case, we call them predicative adjectives. They are found after the predicate, that is the verb. Now, when adjectives are functioning predicatively, then they have two main rules. They can function as subject complement and as object complement when adjectives come after these verbs. For example, as a subject complement, the verb must always be a linking verb. For example, the car is smart. Here, smart is describing the car. It is a predicative adjective. It comes after a copular verb. So if adjectives come after copular verbs, then they function as complements of the subject. So here, smart is a complement of the car. For an adjective to function as the object complement, it must not come after a linking verb. It must appear after an object. So for example, Jacob made Amma great. Here, great appears after the object. Anyway, it comes after the predicate. So we can classify it as a predicative adjective. Now from attributive adjectives, we know that for some adjectives, they normally occur in the attributive position, that is before the head word. But for some adjectives, they are also restricted to the predicative position after the verb. They cannot occur before the noun, but they occur after the verb. Those adjectives are afraid. So you can say an afraid boy. You will say the boy is afraid. Awake. You cannot say an awake man. No, the man is awake. Ill, glad, asleep. They are all restricted to the predicative role. They come after linking verbs. These are what are called the predicative adjectives. They occur after copular verbs. Let us talk about the last role or the last syntactic function of adjectives. That is the post-positive adjective. Now, when an adjective is functioning post-positively, then it means that it follows the noun phrase head word immediately. There is no copular verb in between. For example, a man responsible. So here, responsible is qualifying the man, which is the head, which means it comes immediately after the man, a post-positive adjective. Another example, a student clever. A student clever. So here, clever is a post adjective. It comes immediately after the noun head. That is a post-positive adjective. Now, post-positive adjectives can be coordinated, which means that after the noun head, we can have adjectives that are joined together by a coordinating conjunction. For example, a car expensive and durable. Both expensive and durable are qualifying the car. These adjectives are post-positive adjectives. They come immediately after the head. Now, the words below are strictly post-positive adjectives. They occur immediately after the noun head. Now, these adjectives are normally used post-positively. Minor, elect, designate, general, proper, immemorial. For example, you can say time immemorial. So immemorial will be an adjective that comes after the head word. Now you can also say attorney general, where general is postposed to attorney, which means that general in that sense will be a post-positive adjective. In a similar way, you can also say that the president-elect. The president-elect. So in that case, elect would be qualifying president. It is a post adjective because it comes immediately after president. These are the post-positive syntactic categories of adjectives. So we have discussed the three main syntactic roles of adjectives. That is the attributive role, the predicative role, and then finally the post-positive role. And I hope you can give examples of all the syntactic roles of the adjective. Not all adjectives are restricted by position. Some adjectives are mobile, which means that they can occur attributively, predicatively, and post-positively. Examples are small, important, clever, good, wise, great. They are adjectives that can occur at any position. For example, you can say a great man. It occurs before man, so it is attributive. The man is great. It occurs after a copular verb, predicative. A man great. It occurs immediately after the head word, which means great is post-positive. So these adjectives also behave the same way. They can occur before, immediately after, or after the verb as attributive, post-positive, and predicative respectively. Now let us discuss the head word in an adjective phrase. This is very similar to that we had in the noun phrase. In the adjective phrase, the head word is always an adjective. The head word is always an adjective, and it can consist of modifiers and also qualifiers that are optional. So in an adjective phrase, only the adjective is the obligatory element. So let us give these examples. Beautiful is an adjective. So since it is an adjective, it is the head word and it has no modifiers and no qualifiers. This is the minimal realization of the adjective phrase. Very beautiful is an adjective phrase, but this time it has a modifier which is modifying the adjective head. Now, very beautiful enough is also an adjective phrase. The head word is beautiful and it has a pre-modifier and then a post-modifier. Very beautiful to win the award. Here, very is a pre-modifier. To win the award is also a post-modifier or a qualifier, whilst the head word is beautiful. So in an adjective phrase, the head word is always mandatory. You cannot have an adjective phrase without an adjective. For the modifiers and the qualifiers, they are optional, just as we saw in the noun phrase. Now let us discuss the elements or the words that can appear before the adjective as pre-modifiers. They are usually adverbs or adverb phrases, which means that in the modifier position, only the adverb or the adverb phrases occur before the adjective heads. For example, rather simple. Here, the adverb rather is modifying the adjective head simple. Extremely beautiful. This is an adjective phrase with the head word beautiful, and extremely is an adverb that is modifying beautiful. Far less handsome. Here we have an adverb phrase, far less, which is modifying the adjective head handsome. Quite exceptionally clever. We have an adverb phrase, quite exceptionally, which is modifying clever, the adjective head. Terribly difficult. This is an adverb phrase modifying the adjective head difficult. So in the pre-modifier slot in the adjective phrase, it is usually an adverb or an adverb phrase that modifies the adjective head. Now there is no need to talk about the head word. If it is an adjective phrase, then the head word is obviously an adjective. It is unlike nouns where we had other items that can also function as the noun head. Now what about the post modifier or the qualifiers in the adjective phrase? They are known as the complements of the adjectives. So which words can come after the adjective head? First of all, the adverb can come after the adjective head. So adverbs like enough and then indeed normally appear as a qualifier of the adjective head. The qualifier can also be a prepositional phrase. It can be an infinite clause and it can be a finite clause. All of them should occur after the adjective head as a qualifier before we say it is post modifying that adjective head. Let us break down how these elements can occur as post modifiers in the adjective phrase. Now, beginning with the adverb enough. For example, tall enough. Here, tall is our adjective head and it is qualified by or post modified by the adverb enough. Brave enough. Here, brave is the adjective head and it is qualified by the adverb enough. Now, the adjective may also be followed or qualified by the infinitive. Now, after the adverb enough, enough can be followed by two infinitives as qualifier to the adjective head. For example, he is tall enough to be selected. Or enough can be followed by a prepositional phrase. Big enough for the journey. So the adverb enough serves as a post modifier or a qualifier in an adjective phrase. Now, what about the prepositional phrase? How does it qualify or post modify an adjective head? Here are some examples. Capable of winning. Here, the adjective head is capable, and then of winning serves as a qualifier to the adjective head. Of winning is a prepositional phrase. So here we have a head, H, plus a Q. Afraid of failure. Now, of failure is a prepositional phrase which sits in the post-modifying position of the adjective head, afraid. Good at mathematics. Here, good is an adjective and it is qualified by the prepositional phrase at mathematics. Interested in the story. We have an adjective head which is qualified by a prepositional phrase in the story. So these are instances where the prepositional phrase serves as qualifiers in the adjective phrase. They come after the adjective head. Now, we mentioned earlier that the adjective head can also be post-modified by clauses. Now, the two main kinds of clauses that can qualify the adjective head are the non-finite and the finite clauses. Let's talk about when non-finite clauses qualify the adjective head. It comes in the form of infinitives and participle clauses. For example, I am happy to inform. Happy is an adjective. That is the head of the adjective phrase. And to inform becomes a post modifier or a qualifier, a Q, in the adjective phrase. Therefore, we have an adj plus an infinitive, and the infinitive is a qualifier of the adj. Now, I am anxious to see. Anxious is an adjective head. Is the head of the adjective phrase anxious to see. Anxious is the head, whilst to see is an infinitive qualifying the adjective head. Now let us see where participle clauses or participial clauses also serve as qualifiers in the adjective phrase. You can say, it is worth investing into the problem. We have the participial clause, investing into the problem, qualifying worth. So this is an adjective phrase with the adjective worth as the head, where participial clause investing into the problem serves as a qualifier. Now another participial clause in the post-modifying position is buying his books. This participial clause also qualifies the adjective head busy. So these are instances where the adjective head is qualified or post-modified by non-finite clauses, particularly the two infinitive clause and the ing participial clause. Now all finite clauses can also serve as qualifiers to an adjective head in an adjective phrase. Here the finite clauses we are referring to the nominal clauses and the interrogative clauses. For example, I am sad that we are in this situation. Now the whole of this nominal clause, that we are in this situation, is qualifying sad, which is the adjective head. Sad that we are in this situation. So this is an instance where the adjective head is qualified or post-modified by the that clause. That clause is a finite clause. So we have a finite clause that is post-modifying the adjective head. Now they are sure that the lecturer will listen to us. Now what is the adjective phrase? Sure that the lecturer will listen to us. It has the adjective head sure, and it has this finite clause, which is a nominal that clause modifying the adjective head. Now another instance is the lady is not certain why the children are late. The whole of this is the adjective phrase, certain why the children are late. Now certain is our adjective head, so it is RH, whilst the clause, that is the interrogative clause, why the children are late, becomes the Q. So over here we have the interrogative WH clause, which is qualifying or post-modifying the adjective head setting. So these are instances where clauses qualify the adjective head. I hope you can give your own examples. Look at the examples here and try to write down a similar structure where the adjective head is qualified by a clause. One phenomenon which is very interesting in the adjective phrase is that now sometimes an adjective within an adjective phrase may be interrupted by other elements such as adverbs, comparatives, or clauses. This is called discontinuous modification in the adjective phrase, because the adjective is not standing alone. It is split by extra information that modifies or intensifies it. So let us see the common patterns. That is, we can have an adjective which is split by these words, as or so before it, and then a comparative phrase or clause after it. So for example, Mary became as courageous as a lion. Here the words as surrounds the adjective, that is courageous, forming a comparison. So the adjective is interrupted by the comparative phrase as a lion. Now in the second example, the man is so strong that he beats them all. The man is so strong that he beats them all. The adjective strong that we see here is intensified by so and followed by a that clause explaining the result. So this is also an instance of discontinuous modification. Now another structure is where we have more or less plus the adjective plus a than. For example, John looks more dangerous than the thief. The adjective dangerous is part of a comparative structure. So here, the adjective dangerous becomes part of the whole comparative structure with more before it, and then the comparison phrase than the thief after it. Another structure is to plus the adjective followed by a non-finite clause. So for example, John is too young to marry. So here to comes before the adjective head, and then to marry, which is a to infinitive, a non-finite clause, comes after young, an instance of discontinuous modification. So discontinuous modification in the ADJP allows adjectives to carry more information, express comparisons, results, or limitations, and create richer and more precise descriptions.